The Zephyrian High Command had made a grave miscalculation. They believed that humans, like most species in the galaxy, would bow to superior firepower. They were wrong. Admiral Elena Vasquez had been gone for 3 years. 3 long years spent in the Outer Rim territories, establishing trade routes and diplomatic relations with the newly discovered Andorian collective. When her long-range communication array finally picked up the distress signals from Earth, her blood ran cold. The blue marble that had birthed humanity was under siege. The Zephyrians, a militaristic reptilian species with technology that dwarfed most civilizations, had issued humanity an ultimatum: submit to their rule or face extinction. Earth's government, led by President Chen, had given them a simple response that would have made any human proud: come and take it. Now, as Elena's flagship Indomitable dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of the Sol system, she witnessed the aftermath of humanity's defiance. The Zephyrian armada hung in space like metallic vultures, their massive dreadnoughts positioned in a threatening formation around Earth. Orbital bombardment had scarred the planet's surface, but the blue world still spun defiantly in the void. "Ma'am," her tactical officer, Lieutenant Commander Rodriguez, reported, his voice tight with barely contained rage. "Long-range scans show 47 Zephyrian capital ships. They've established a complete blockade." Elena studied the tactical display, her fingers drumming against the command chair's armrest. The Zephyrians had impressive ships. Each dreadnought outgunned her cruiser by a factor of 10. But they had made one critical error in their calculations. They had underestimated human ingenuity. "Signal the fleet," Elena commanded. Behind her, 12 other ships dropped out of hyperspace, not the gleaming vessels of the Earth Navy, but converted freighters, mining ships, and colony transports. To any observer, they looked like refugees fleeing a war zone. The Zephyrians would see exactly what Elena wanted them to see. High Commander Siskar of the Zephyrian Third Fleet observed the approaching human vessels with amusement. His thermal pits detected no significant weapon signatures, and their energy readings were consistent with civilian craft. These humans were either coming to surrender or attempting some pathetic rescue mission. "Shall we destroy them, Commander?" his weapons officer inquired, tongue flicking out to taste the air in anticipation. "No," Siskar replied, his scaled lips pulling back in what passed for a smile among his species. "Let them approach. I want to see the despair in their eyes when they realize their world is lost." Elena smiled as she watched the Zephyrian formation. They weren't moving to intercept, just as she had hoped. The aliens' arrogance would be their downfall. "All ships begin approach vector Delta 7, she transmitted on the encrypted channel. "Remember, people, we're just scared refugees running home to Mama." As the human convoy approached the inner system, Elena's ships began to separate, taking seemingly random vectors toward Earth. The Zephyrians tracked them but made no aggressive moves. After all, what threat could a handful of converted cargo haulers pose to their mighty fleet? They were about to find out. The first hint that something was wrong came when the lead human vessel, a converted asteroid mining ship, suddenly changed course and accelerated directly toward the Zephyrian flagship. Siskar had barely enough time to register the massive energy spike before the mining ship detonated. The explosion lit up space like a newborn star. The converted freighter had been packed with industrial fusion charges, enough explosive power to level a mountain. The Zephyrian flagship simply ceased to exist, vaporized in a ball of nuclear fire that expanded outward in a perfect sphere of destruction. But Elena wasn't finished. Across the battlefield, her refugee fleet revealed its true nature. Mining ships packed with fusion charges rammed into Zephyrian vessels, colony transports. Their cargo holds filled with antimatter warheads detonated in the midst of enemy formations. Freighters that had spent years hauling goods between the outer colonies now served as delivery systems for humanity's most devastating weapons. The Zephyrians, caught completely off guard, scrambled to respond. Their superior technology meant nothing when human pilots were willing to make the ultimate sacrifice. Ship after ship in the alien fleet fell victim to what the survivors would later call the nuclear welcome party. Commander Yistel, now the senior Zephyrian officer after his superior's vaporization, watched in horror as half his fleet disappeared in nuclear fireballs. These humans were insane. They were destroying their own ships to damage his forces. No civilized species fought this way. "All ships, full retreat," he commanded, but it was too late. Elena's trap was already sprung. The Indomitable and 3 surviving escort vessels emerged from behind Luna, where they had been hiding in the moon's sensor shadow. Unlike the converted civilian ships, these were proper warships, armed with humanity's latest weapons technology. The Zephyrian formation, already shattered by the kamikaze attacks, found themselves caught between Elena's hammer and Earth's anvil. The defense platforms that had seemed destroyed by orbital bombardment suddenly came online, their weapon systems having been hidden in hardened bunkers beneath the planet's surface. Earth's own fleet, battered but not broken, rose from behind the planet's horizon to join the fight. The battle that followed was brief but decisive. The remaining Zephyrian ships, their formation destroyed and their morale shattered, were systematically hunted down. Those that attempted to surrender were accepted. Elena was a soldier, not a monster. But the message had been sent loud and clear across the galaxy. Humanity would not bow, they would not break, and anyone foolish enough to threaten their homeworld would face a welcome party they would never forget. As the last Zephyrian ship either fled or surrendered, Elena stood on her bridge looking out at the debris field that had once been an invasion fleet. Earth hung in the distance, scarred but unbroken, its blue surface reflecting the light of their star. "Welcome home, Admiral," came President Chen's voice over the communication channel. "How is the neighborhood?" Elena smiled, the first genuine smile she'd worn in months. "Loud, Mr. President. Very loud indeed." In the years that followed, the Battle of Sol would become legendary throughout the galaxy. Civilizations would study the tactical brilliance of using converted civilian ships as weapons platforms. Military academies would analyze Elena's strategy of sacrificial gambits and coordinated strikes. But they would all miss the most important lesson. Never underestimate a species willing to turn their own ships into bombs to protect what they love. The Zephyrians had expected submission. Instead, they had received the most human response possible, a middle finger delivered at nuclear velocities. Humanity had announced its place in the galaxy not with diplomacy or technology, but with the simple message that their home was not for sale at any price. The prodigal queen had returned, and her welcome party had been appropriately explosive.